Alright, guys, back to an episode of Edgeworth, Ace Attorney Investigations. Last time, we were trying to figure out what the hell was Gumshoe doing during the hallway. Turns out it was the kid, Kay Faraday, that was, like, in the hallway, too. Unfortunately, we found out she's the daughter of the father who died, unfortunately, but they still suspect that it's still fucking, Gumshoe who could have done it. Well, you is like really making sure like that, but yeah, we're gonna discover the crime scene and see what happened. What is this incredibly overpowering sweet scent? It smells like flowers. Uncle Bad, this is Uncle? Isn't it Detective Bad and Kay over there? Looks like she managed to escape the bailiff. No. That's not quite it. That's too bad, but it's so pretty. I think you're still a bit too young to be wearing that. But since you found it, I guess I can let you keep it. Oh, thanks, I'll treasure it always. Those two seem to be getting along rather well. Oh, here, I've got something else for you. Yay, thank you, Uncle Bat. Ooh, another Swiss roll. Earlier, I ate one of these with Gummy. Gummy? Oh, you mean Gumshoe? Gummy is taken away. He was trying to be nice to me, but because I was gonna get in trouble, and then he got in trouble because he lied to protect me. Gummy. Gumshoe did nothing wrong. Let's be real here. I know he didn't kill Daddy. Don't cry. Faraday would be very sad if he saw you crying. I'm not crying. Kay. Oh, it's the mister from before and the lady, too. Don't you forget it'd be a good idea for you to go home for the time being. You're not involved in the investigation, so it's for the best if you do. Actually, I'm Uncle Bad's assistant, so I'm related to the investigation. Is that so? Oh, Detective Bad. Yeah. I guess. Well, not Nani. You were just scolding us like kids to not mess up the crime scene. And now you're letting this child run free? Why? People are free to investigate things outside of the actual crime scene. You also had a few things you wanted to look into. Got a problem with that? I don't have a problem with that, but I am curious to what Miss Yu is looking into. Uncle Ben, I'm going to look somewhere else now, okay? Alright. I'm counting on you. Oh, that's right. Hey, mister. Yes, what is it? I know Gummy really isn't the bad guy. I mean it. So please, find the real bad guy, okay? I won't forgive whoever did this. Yeah. If she believes that Gumshoe didn't do it, then there's no way that Gumshoe did it. But they're really pinning on him. In the absence of the perfect piece of testimony and evidence, there is no one else who could be the true culprit other than Detective Gumshoe. She wandered off while I was pondering. What is this smell that has permeated the air? It's sweet and flowery, although this strength, I'm likely to suffocate from it. I can't conduct an investigation under these circumstances. We need to open the window and air this room out. I demand that you open the window right now. Hurry. Franziska, one of the windows is already open. I can see that. I wonder. Is it just a coincidence that the windows is already open too? Now that I think about it, what was it? The window's purpose. One of the windows' lobby is open as well. The air conditioner is working just fine in this room. So why did they open it, I wonder? That's what we're gonna find out. That expensive painting is ill-suited to be hanging on the wall of this room. I wonder if a guard detail should be placed on it. Why do you say that? Well, a desperate low-paid detective might make off with it someday, so you never know. She may be thinking about hiring a guard, but it's obvious she isn't factoring in that guard's salary whatsoever. The guard will be hired for no salary. Fuck. What incredibly strong scented herbal tea. I fear that more than being relaxing, this scent may make one a bit heady instead. You put in that special request for that. No wonder she's so violent. She's been drinking this whole stuff the whole time. Neither woman should be allowed to comment on this particular topic ever. It may not look like much, but I find that ordinary tables like this one are very useful. I think it's time they brought in a new one. I wonder if they will replace this table and if I hit it hard enough with my whip. A much too heavy-handed method if I ever saw one. Is television the same model as the one in Detective Lobby number 2? Looks like the two rooms are basically the same in terms of layout and supplies. Yes. The two rooms are basically the same, huh? They are the same. See down the courthouse courtyard from here. What is that mess supposed to be? It's like an optical illusion. I believe it's supposed to be postmodern design. Well, it's more like thoughtlessness in design. Can't disagree there. Detective Bat, what was exactly Kay searching for? Nothing that concerns you, boy. Oh, and I suppose it has something to do with Kay? It does. Because she's Faraday's daughter. Anyway, hurry up and get to the point. I don't have time to waste. Sounds like you'd rather be left alone. I have something I'd like to confirm with you once again. I don't have anything to say to you. Be that as it may, we still have questions that we need answers to. Now then, first of all, what is this overpowering smell that's permeating this room? Upon entering this room, I thought I was going to suffocate. It's the ultra-strong perfume you wears. She spilled some of it. I was having a bad time of it myself. I didn't think twice and opened the window. But that smell's still here. Perfume, huh? So that sweet scent in the air is perfume. Well, it's giving off quite a stench. I bet it's some cheap no-name brand. She said, it's a famous brand from overseas. Overseas? It's a knockoff. Yes, definitely a knockoff. No disrespect, but she's forced one of those bottles on me. Here, little girl. You can have it. I was born for a much more expensive, refined perfume. However, seeing it as you just happen to have a spare, I suppose I'll just take it. Miles Edgeworth, you will hold on to this bottle without fail. Gah! Why do I have to do all the tasks for you? Why can't she ever be honest about her wants? Same perfume smell in lobby number 1. And now we have the perfume Miss Yu wears. Just fantastic. Is that all you wanted to talk about? If so, I'm going back to investigating. Actually, I have still a few other things I wish to inquire about. So you were in this room the entire recess, like I said. I made it a call to the precinct to get that big lug down here. But other than that, I was waiting for the recess to end in here. At least your story is consistent. Earlier, you said that you were in this lobby with Miss Yu. Yeah, I ran into her in the hallway. She said that she wanted to talk to me about something, so we came in here. Then what you're saying is that until Detective Gumshoe's arrival, you and Miss Yu were in 2 different locations. There's a time window. Interesting. I guess I am. Interesting. Speaking of that lawyer, she seems to have a great dislike for you. Ugh. Let's see, Miss Yu is the sister of the victim of the KG-8 incident, and as I recall, Detective Bab was the lead detective on the case. I wonder if the reason for her disdain isn't simply because you failed to guard Cece, but because you were the lead detective on the case. You knew? I also know that today's trial involving Kodopian Embassy staff member is being referred to as the second KG-8 incident. Now then, Detective, I believe it's time you were honest with me and told me the truth behind your relationship with Miss Yu and Mr. Faraday and the KG-8 incident. If you already knew that much, I guess it'd be alright to tell you. KG-8 incident? Now, I'd like to ask you a few questions about the KG-8 incident. It's not exactly a happy story. Other than that, the people who were directly involved. You two will be all the first to hear what I'm about to tell you. Oh no, sad backstory. The honest truth behind the KG-8 incident. Faraday, you and I. As you already know, we three were involved in the KG-8 incident. Faraday and I, we were originally on the trail of a smuggling ring. You mean the smuggling case involving one of the Amano Group's secretaries? That trial was just a front.
A facade?
Yeah, but the cases became tainted. All because the witness who was going to testify about the Amano Group's ties to the smuggling ring, CCU, was killed. Then what became of the secretary who was arrested? His name was Colin Devore. Colin Devore? To be honest, the guy didn't know a thing about the smuggling ring. But he confessed to knowing about it anyway. Devore was probably being intimidated by the big boss man. Just another scapegoat. The boss man of the Amano Group? Huh. You can't seriously mean Mr. Ernest Amano. That can't be right. It's probably just Detective Bad's personal hypothesis. What is he trying to do, suspecting Mr. Amano being involved with smuggling?
I suppose it might have been quite difficult to secure an acquittal after he would confess. But the man who killed CCU, Manny Cochin, was a completely different person. But since he's already been acquitted of one of her murder, Mr. Faraday, how could he have let him go?
I remember correctly. I heard that Mr. Faraday had an important piece of evidence stolen from him. True? That wasn't Faraday's fault. It was mine. I wasn't vigilant enough. Faraday, CC, I was supposed to protect them both. Miss Yu did mention that as well. About how Detective Bad was supposed to guard her sister. But, even if I was supposed to protect them, who was I supposed to protect them? I fell into their trap.
What kind of trap?
The holes in this jacket are a testament to that trap.
Those are like guns?
Oh. You mean you were fired upon?
You were shot in that many times in one gunfight?
No. Only about half of these are from the case. But the reason I continue to wear this jacket is to remind myself of the lessons I learned from the KG-8 incident. I see. I couldn't protect CCU, and the suspect was found not guilty. We had to hit a brick wall, as far as the law was concerned. And that's when she came to the courthouse. The victim's sister. That's when I first met Callisto Yu. About when you first met Miss Yu. It was on the day of the verdict of the KG-8 incident was handed out, was it not? Yes. Faraday and I, we apologized to her from the bottom of our hearts. It was all we could do, but just saying you're sorry won't bring my sister back, she said. True. And then she gave me a hard slap across the face.
Well, she certainly had a lot of self-control to stop just a slap. If it was me, not even 100 lashes would have been punishment enough.
I suppose not. You said it herself, that she never wanted to see either of us ever again. But after that, you've seen her many times over, correct? Yeah. Faraday and I, even after the KG-8 incident had come to a close, we continued to hunt down the smuggling ring and got involved in a variety of cases, but it was no use. We crack so many different cases. But the result was always the same. Couldn't find the real mastermind behind the ring.
Man,
Is the ring really that big? It was in the pursuit of the ring that we met you once again. It was during another trial related to that smuggling ring. Faraday was the prosecutor, and I was the lead detective, and took to the witness stand. She appeared out of the blue as a defense attorney. Her client was related to the smuggling ring, and she was defending them? Yeah, unfortunately. Yu was pursuing the ring as best she could as a lawyer. I think she defended Rao this time for the same reason. Come to think of it, Miss Yu did say something to that same effect.
I just have my own agenda. Okay. This is personal for her. It doesn't matter what her reason is. Helping a criminal is just despicable.
You're so naive, little girl. I could have stolen this lollipop from you. And that's how naive you are.
How dare you insult the daughter of Von Karma?
Just like us. You felt that she had to hit the limit of what the law could do. That's all. The law is merely a tool. There is no limit to it. Only the skill of a craftsman. You two are still too young. But one day, you'll know what I mean.
Damn.
But enough sidetracking. What matters is that we met you again in the pursuit of a smuggling ring. That's all.
What about Faraday?
So what was your relationship to Mr. Faraday? You even seem to know Kay fairly well. I met him when he was a rookie prosecutor. Known him ever since. And Kay, I've known her since the day she was born. Faraday and I, we cracked a few cases together. But you two seem to have made no progress at all in the Yatagarasu case.
Did we touch a nerve?
I only have one thing to say to you. No one knew more about the Yatagarasu than me and Faraday. That's why I was called upon to testify in today's trial to prove that Rel was not the real Yatagarasu, which I would have done if he hadn't turned around and accused Faraday. After the accusation, I was asked to testify, but this time, to prove or disprove the accusation, but I guess I won't be doing that either. I sense there's more to that statement than needs the eye. Perhaps a little bit more digging into Yatagarasu is what necessary. You claim to know much about the Yatagarasu. Would you care to share what you know with me? What you two should be looking at for right now is proof of the murderous intent towards Faraday and Rel. I agree, which is exactly why I'm asking about the Yatagarasu. What? Of all the KG-8 incident and the second KG-8 incident. Both of these cases are tied to the smuggling ring. And in both of these cases, the witness who was to testify about the ring was murdered. However, there is one point in which they differ. And that is the presence or absence of the great thief Yatagarasu. Mr. Rel claimed to be at a Yatagarasu. However, in the middle of the trial, he suddenly declared Mr. Faraday to be the real Yatagarasu. Then during the recess, they were both killed. Don't you find it at least a bit odd?
Miles, Edgeworth, stop beating around the bush and just spit it out already.
I believe there must be some reason that two men suspected of being the Yatagarasu were both killed at the same time. A reason, huh?
to get rid of them, no? And so, in order to catch Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel's cold-blooded killer, I feel like I need to learn as much as I can about the Yatagarasu. If it will help you solve this case. Then I'll tell you. I'll tell you the reason why we've never caught the Yatagarasu.
What was that sudden outburst for? You almost made me whip you by accident. Whoops. Gah! Wait, why am I getting whipped? What the fuck?
It still accidentally whipped me anyway. There are 3 main reasons why the Yatagarasu will always be one step ahead. First, the Yatagarasu always knows the exact location of the target object. Second, the Yatagarasu always knows exactly how to disarm the security system. Third, the Yatagarasu doesn't leave a single shred of evidence behind, ever. I see. So those are the Yatagarasu's special traits.
Sounds like an incredibly elusive thief.
The Yatagarasu has never been caught on tape. Never tries out to draw the attention of anyone. And will never do something as lowbrow as to commit murder. That's how I knew that Rel wasn't the real Yatagarasu right away.
But you can't use that sort of logic on its own to prove that he wasn't.
Listen, little girl. I'm not done talking yet.
Okay.
What's different about this time was that evidence related to the smuggling ring was sent to the police. And the sender was none other than the one who infiltrated the Codopian embassy, the Yatagarasu. The Yatagarasu sent the evidence? Huh? Until now, the Yatagarasu would always publicize any corrupt dealings through the mass media. But not this time. The evidence this time was something only Faraday and I, and a select few others knew about. In that case, how can you be so sure that it was the Yatagarasu who sent it? That's very easy. A special card that only the Yatagarasu uses was attached. That's how I can be very sure. And just what sort of card is it? Here, take a look at this article. Whenever the Yatagarasu wants to publicize something, a white card is sent along with the stolen information.
Calling card. This is like a phantom thief. This Yatagarasu is a phantom thief.
But when we questioned Rel about what was sent along with the white card, Rel had no idea what it was. Ah, so that's how Detective Bad knew that Mr. Rel was a phony. Thank you very much. I have much better understanding of the Yatagarasu now.
Dang.
Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes.
His Honor would like to transfer the evidence from today's trial over to you. So if you please head over to the courtroom, it'd be much appreciated, sir.
Understood. I'll be there shortly. Detective Bad, what does the law mean to you? Psh. Finding the answer to that question is the only reason I'm still alive.
Alright then.
I became a prosecutor to find the answer to that question myself, and to play a part in ensuring that all criminals everywhere are found guilty.
September 10th, District Court, number 3. What does Judge want to say?
Oh, it's you, Mr. Edgeworth. Oh. It appears that His Honor is still a bit dispirited. For the first time today, I experienced what it's like to stand at the witness stand. Oh, I now have the greater appreciation for just how hard it is to give testimony.
Well, there's no reason for you to be all depressed about it, Your Honor. As this judge, no one expects you to think about anything other than the verdict.
Franziska, there's no need to further depress His Honor.
I'm not trying to, Miles.
Your Honor. Your Honor, I come to collect the evidence that was to be transferred to me. Your Honor, the evidence? Your Honor! Oh! You! Oh yes, how can I help you? I'd like to collect the evidence now, sir.
Your Honor,
Do you think you could stay focused long enough to at least do your job?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I would accept the defense attorney has yet to arrive. She is busy with the investigation. So let's keep this brief, shall we? Very well then, in case, please confirm that all the pieces of evidence are present. Furthermore, the evidence that was used in the murders of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rao are also included, so please go ahead and use them in the investigation to their case.
I want to check something out. We got new evidence. Bads. The promise thing. I feel like this is going to be very vitally important. The perfume.
Understood, Your Honor. The new pieces of evidence were used in the murder of those two men. This could be a very good chance for me to find out new leads regarding their case. Maybe in something that will finally lead me to the truth. I place all the evidence at the prosecutor's bench for you. I see. Thank you very much. I will go and confirm they are all accounted for. It would appear that the judge is still a bit dispirited.
Stop that. You're being so depressing.
You should listen to her, Your Honor, before things go bad from to worse. Although it can't get much worse for him other than to be whipped by her.
Jared, can you stop sneezing? It's really annoying. Then literally cover it.
It's the witness stand.
I'll make sure that each and every... Okay. Okay, it's the same dialogue as I got from last time.
So this is the evidence related to the Cold-Weeping Embassy trial from today, Faraday's bag.
Mini evidence bag that was on the table in lobby number 2, correct?
Yes, finally we can take a look at the evidence itself, not just data about them. But let's be sure to thoroughly examine it while we have the time.
Agreed, I want to take a good look at all the evidence from the embassy murder too.
And why is that?
Because I still don't fully understand what today's trial was all about.
Gah!
Touché.
Don't point your crop at me just because you don't know something.
And don't try to order me around just because Papa chose you today.
I see someone is still sore about not being picked on by Mr. Von Karma.
And it's also, how do I put it, so real to see the knife up close.
So we have the knife, the gun, the envelope, and what's this organizer's doing here? Oh, that's right! I completely forgot to tell you. About what, Your Honor? They found Mr. Faraday's personal organizer inside the evidence bag of his. Detective Bad requested to be passed along to you, it seems. It would also help the investigation. Detective Bad said that. What a strange stroke of luck. Well, never look a gift horse in the mouth. We might be able to as well to flip through it too. I won't. Okay.
Let's look at each one then.
I took a quick look through these documents before the trial started.
Well, I wasn't even afforded the opportunity to skim it.
I suppose I should explain it to you then.
Yes, you should. Perfectly in its entirety, if you please.
On the night of the murder of September 8th, an embassy staff member was killed in front of the embassy. The staff member died of shock due to being shot in the heart. Macro was brought in that night as a suspect, thoroughly questioned, because the murder weapon was found on him, for which he was arrested on the spot.
A simpleton of man, that's what he saw.
Perhaps he was, for the weapon wasn't the only incriminating evidence we had. Mr. Rell was caught in the act on film by a security camera.
He was an even bigger simpleton than I thought. I can't believe he didn't notice a security camera.
The Codium Embassy security is supposedly very well designed. He may have simply not been aware that there was a camera in the area.
So have you seen the contents of that video for yourself?
Yes, surveillance video the security camera took was played during the trial by Mr. Faraday. You can also clearly identify Mr. Rowe on it. Even the sound of the gunshot was very crystal clear.
So the footage included sound, huh? I don't think I ever want to see the moment of someone's death in real life.
Me neither. Mr. Faraday's organizer. It appears he was in the habit of using it.
It looks like he wrote his strategy for getting Mr. Rowe convicted down in here. Collected the evidence I need to prove that Rowe was the killer. Between the handgun had on him and the rest, he was prove he was the one.
Appears that Mr. Faraday honestly believed that Mr. Rowe was the killer in this case.
Sound of his handgun going off. I have evidence I can use to prove that Rowe is not the real Yatagarasu.
And it also appeared that he had proof that Mr. Rowe is not the Yatagarasu.
No matter how you try, have the Yatagarasu you can prove he's a phone. I have presented him in court. It should clear up anything.
And apparently he also had a definitive piece of evidence.
But a long battle he had finally been to an end.
And yes, I believe that Mr. Faraday was well prepared to discredit any claim Mr. Rowe may have made about the real Yatagarasu.
And he had a way to prove that Mr. Rowe was the guilty party in the embassy murder.
This organizer's a clue straight from Mr. Faraday. I'll have to take my time and give it a thorough read later.
Look, there's a picture stuck between these pages here. Let me see the book. We have a ton of evidence, do we? Okay, that's all it is. There's a picture stuck between these pages here.
Appears to be a key.
Key? And a rather ornate one at that. Just look at the design on the handle.
The craftsmanship is very superb. Could this be the Yatagarasu's key Mr. Faraday mentioned in his organizer?
Yatagarasu's key?
Detective Bad said something earlier, too.
Evidence was sent to the police. The Yatagarasu. Yeah, they sent the evidence. I don't know why. Mr. Faraday must have been trying to keep this secret key safe.
As a prosecutor in both the Yatagarasu and smuggling ring cases, that's to be expected.
It has a rather unusual shape.
This gun was using member to kill the Ethiopian embassy staff member. When the crime was reported, the responding police found Mr. Rowe still holding it, which led to its immediate death.
And then, this gun took the original shooter's life. How ironic.
Indeed. Therefore, it doesn't seem to be anything else we can learn from this piece of evidence.
The knife you used to kill Mr. Who would have thought that such a beautiful piece of art could be used for such a cruel act?
Has it never crossed your mind that you use your riding crop for the wrong purpose? That's odd.
Huh, what is it?
Mr. Faraday didn't mention anything about a knife in his organizer.
That certainly is odd.
The weapon that was used to kill the Copian embassy staff member was the gun. But if that's the case, then where did the knife that was used to murder Mr. Faraday come from?
Isn't it obvious it was brought into the courthouse by Mr. Rowe? Is it really Mr. Rowe's knife? That's the only logical conclusion, right?
No, because it's not that easy to smuggle a weapon like that in here. Every person who enters the courthouse doors is checked thoroughly for contraband. Furthermore, the suspect was handcuffed, making it impossible for him to bring a knife as large as this inside.
In that case, how do you suppose this knife ended up inside the courthouse?
That's what we need to figure out. You need to think carefully here. There is nothing related to the knife written anywhere in Mr. Faraday's organizer. However, it is a fact that this knife came from Mr. Faraday's evidences bag. Conversely, there is only one item listed in Mr. Faraday's organizer, and no one has claimed to have seen today. So in order to solve this mystery, I believe I will need to take another good look at the evidence.
Miles Edgeworth, can I take the fact that you have yet to answer me to mean that you don't have an answer for me?
Actually, I do have the answer, Franziska.
Nani? Then what is it?
One of the pieces of evidence we've been holding has been hiding a secret of its own. And it was through this piece of evidence that the knife was brought into the courthouse.
I think it's... What the hell? Trying to think. Is it the key? Is it the key?
Take that!
This Yatagarasu's key, Mr. Faraday mentioned, is an organizer. This is how the knife was brought into the courthouse. Ah.
You're not making any sense, Miles Edgeworth.
You just need to look a bit closer, Franziska, to see what I mean. Don't the color and the ornament of the key's handle remind you of anything?
They do remind me of the knife.
Very good. Both the Yatagarasu's key in this photo and the murderous knife have this very unique design on their handles. Furthermore, it looks like even though Mr. Faraday mentions the Yatagarasu's key, the only object we found at the crime scene was the knife.
You don't seriously mean to say?
It appears that you finally caught up. And yes, I do mean to say that these two pieces are in fact one and the same.
Really, huh?
Okay, but why though?
But that's impossible.
Even if that is what you believe, we should still investigate this possibility. Now then, let us examine this knife in a little more detail. It's the weapon that was used to kill Mr. Faraday. The handle and the blade itself have been both beautiful designs worked into them.
Look, there's even a flower-shaped design in this gold section here. If this had been used for a tool for murder, I want it for myself.
She seems to be very drawn to the embellishments. Too bad this isn't mine to give.
Is it the pattern? Oh, the thing on the back? Yep, the thing on the back.
Ah, it's a switchblade.
I can't believe it turned into a key. To think there was such a trick to this thing.
Ah, so the weapon used to kill Mr. Faraday was actually the key that the Yatagarasu stole. This piece of evidence is more critical than anything we've learned up to until now.
Turns into a knife. That's genius. Frankly, I'm very shocked. A switchblade.
Mr. Faraday only mentioned the key aspect of this piece of evidence in his organizer. And it's possible that he had no idea that the key was hiding a knife blade inside.
But if that's true, then only someone who knew about the key to knife trick could have killed Mr. Faraday.
Even among law enforcement, this key was top secret. We're looking for someone who even knew more about the key than even Mr. Faraday himself. Meaning that the only person who could be is one who sent the key in the first place.
I feel like it's leaning towards either bad or you.
The great thief Yatagarasu.
Huh. Then maybe Mr. Rel really was the Yatagarasu. And he was the one who killed Mr. Faraday. Isn't that one possible scenario?
No, not really, especially since Mr. Faraday was absolutely convinced that Mr. Rel was not the Yatagarasu. Besides, as Detective Bad said earlier,
the calling card, Rel had no idea what it is. I see, so alright then, I guess the person who knows the trick behind this key is someone else, and that person's the real Yatagarasu.
It seems that this key will be truly the key to solving this case.
Oh my god. The knife has a secret ability to change into the key to the Yatagarasu sent.
That's cool. That's odd. We're short of one piece of evidence. And the piece that's missing is the surveillance video that was played in court.
The surveillance video? Yeah, that was played in the court. I remember that. How could a piece of evidence just disappear? Where did it go?
The video showing the moment in which Mr. Rel committed the murder. Where could it have gone indeed? I guess we're gonna have to figure that out. Are you done with your inspection of the evidence? Yes, I'm finally finished. However, Your Honor, I am missing a single piece of prosecutorial evidence.
Your Honor, were you derelict in your duties?
What, Nani? No, I would dare not lick my duties. What do you take me for? No, Your Honor, the most important piece of the evidence in today's trial. The surveillance video is not amongst the evidence you laid out for me. But I brought Mr. Faraday's whole bag with me from the crime scene. Maybe the tape is still somewhere at the crime scene? Someone must have taken it. There's something wrong here. Something about this missing piece of evidence. Someone took it. It would appear that for me to find the answers I seek, I will have to pay another visit to the scene of the crime. Defendant lobby number 2. Oh, what the? Is that Lang? That's Lang. That's Detective Bad, but who is he with?
I never seen that officer before.
So, did you find it?
No, not yet. I've looked everywhere.
I see. Well then, please continue with the search.
Understood. I'll continue the search. So you're the one running this show, huh? Prosecutors like you shouldn't be even allowed to be at crime scenes like this.
How dare you? And just who do you think you are?
Damn, this guy's up his hoggin'.
What was that all about? And who was that man just now?
Well, whoever he was, I never seen a more impudent officer in my life.
Need to talk to you, Mr. Bad. Does he even know we're standing here right behind him? I know you're standing right behind me. What do you want? Kids.
Gah! Looks like you're finally paying attention after all.
Of course I was. I have eyes in the back of my head. So that mirror isn't for vanity's sake. It's for him to keep an eye out for who or what is behind him at all times. So tell me, Detective Bad, who was that rude man just now? The guy came here from the Republic of Zhengfa to study. He's Agent Lang. He's trying everything he can to revive the lost honor of his family. He's traveling the world to study different philosophies of detainment from scratch. By visiting various police departments around the world, he has a lot of dedication. He's just still a rookie cop, but I sense a strong judge and some sort from him. The guy's more useful than Gumshoe, even if he is rude.
Damn, that's a good saying. Well, he sure has a lot of guts to come to this country and give prosecutors a hard time.
I agree, however, I can think of one young lady that statement also applies to. Well, anyway, what was the agent looking for Detective Bad?
Earlier, that little girl was perking around in lobby number 1 as well.
Like I said before, it's got nothing to do with the two of you. I highly doubt that. It has nothing to do with me. Fine, if this is game as I must play, then I will take this opportunity to draw what he's been hiding, what happened in this room, straight from him.
It looks like Detective Badge is searching for something.
Indeed, I'm very curious to see what it could be myself. Maybe I should just ask him. Suppose it's impossible to enter... Okay.
Friend, help me test my theory.
Gah! Drat, I must remember to be more tactful around the vertically challenged. Earlier you were in lobby number 1, now you're in here in lobby number 2. You are quite the busy man, Detective Bad. Multiple returns to the crime scene brings about success. That's what we detectives say. I see. In that case, you wouldn't mind if I asked about what happened again, correct? I don't have anything left to say to you, boy. Gah! Boy? Damn it! You'll see. I will draw my answer from you in one way or another.
Would it kill you to help us even a tiny bit in our investigation?
I gave Faraday's notebook to the judge earlier. That's help enough, don't you think? Please, we are asking for you a bit more of your cooperation.
I'm about to sneeze. I'm trying not to see.
Don't push me, kid.
We asked about the time of the murder.
I'd like to ask you again about what happened here around the time of the crime. I refuse to answer. Any more investigating you do would be a waste of time. Besides, how am I supposed to answer questions about the things I don't know about?
Things you don't know about? Aren't you supposed to know everything?
He should... Wait, is it possible? Maybe he doesn't know about the trick behind the piece of evidence? Maybe I should try showing it to him. It may prove to be the key to getting some answers from Detective Bad.
We actually should show him the Yatagarasu key.
Detective Bad, did you know the existence of the item in this photograph? Of course I did. It's my job to know everything related to the Yatagarasu case. In that case, let me ask you something. Did you know that the knife that killed Mr. Faraday and this Yatagarasu's key are one and the same? Wait, what? Nani? That's impossible.
It looks like he didn't know after all.
This piece of evidence, which we call the Yatagarasu's key, is actually a well-camouflaged knife. Mr. Faraday was planning to use Mr. Yatagarasu's key to prove that Mr. Rel was not the real Yatagarasu. Isn't that correct? I guess so. However, Mr. Faraday had no idea that it was in fact the knife. Yeah, I have to admit, neither one of us knew that fact. And if neither of us knew, then no one in law enforcement knew either. How do we miss something as big as this? I noticed that since a little while ago, you appear to be searching for something. I presume that this key is what you were searching for. Yeah, that's right. And why you were searching for it? Because I promised Faraday. I promised that I'd protect that key with my life. But after he was killed, the key disappeared from Faraday's evidence bag. Who would have thought that the key is what took Faraday's life? Detective Bad.
So they wanted the key, that's why he got murdered. That is a good motive for it.
So that we may find the truth, please testify for me once more. Alright then. I guess. But it doesn't matter how many times I tell you about what happens. Nothing will ever change.
Alright, fine then, Bad. Have it your way. Think we're gonna have to show him this, no?
Faraday. It sounds like you lost someone close to you. He was a battle buddy. We fought through a lot together. A boy with a silver spoon in his mouth couldn't possibly understand the society's dark underbelly. Although, honestly, I suppose he's right. I don't have anyone to relate in that way, sadly.
Not yet, obviously.
Well, it's not as though I long for someone like that. Nor am good at getting close.
What do I even present here? Maybe the knife?
Faraday.
Okay. Alright, fine then. Let's do the time of the murder.
Detective Bad, I ask that you please testify once more, please, about what happened to lobby number 2 and what you experienced in lobby number 1. My answer is still the same. And this is the last time I'm going to do this. That's fine. Because I only need one last time to clear everything up and to find the truth behind this case.
Testimony time.
I was in the lobby number 1, talking with you. We were talking about some trivial things. I even heard the gunshot, right before the trial was about to reconvene. When we heard it, you and I immediately dashed out in the hallway together. I saw Gumshoe goofing around there, and that's when we went to room number 2.
It sounds exactly the same story you told us before.
Indeed. However, I feel that we have yet to draw out all the info that we can.
Okay. Talking with you. Okay.
Why did Miss Yu choose lobby number 1? Answer me! Who knows? She just said that she had something that she wanted to talk to me about. And we walked into lobby number 1 together. That's all.
That's more. There's something more to this.
So its answer remained the same as before, I see.
We have to draw it out, I guess. Press again.
Hold it!
I was hoping that you can expand on what exactly you were discussing with Miss Yu. Trivial stuff. It was nothing important. When that's for me to decide.
The silent treatment's gonna keep going, isn't it?
Alright, I suppose that's for him to decide, and then moving on then.
Hold it!
Until you heard the gunshot, did you notice anything that was out of the ordinary? I didn't hear any other strange sounds until that gunshot. If the gunshot Detective Bad heard was really from the one from the murder, then that would give the other piece of evidence an entirely different meaning. I asked that you please amend your testimony with that statement just now. Sure.
We're amending the testimony.
Hold it!
Detective Bat, you honestly don't remember hearing anything else? Yeah. Is it possible that you were so involved in your conversation that you missed something? I've been a detective for a long time. And even if I weren't involved in something, I've got quite the habit of keeping tabs on everything that goes around me. There had been some other strange sound. You can be sure I would have read it or heard it. I suppose it's with this detective. That's probably very likely. So the gunshot.
Hold it!
Why did you two of you dash out into the hallway straight away? Because we were clearly heard the sound of a gunshot. And we knew it came from somewhere nearby. And how did you know it was a gunshot? In my line of work, you hear enough of them to know. I suppose it's only natural for a detective to know what a real gunshot sounds like. Given the circumstances, the only person whose life could have been in danger was Faraday. That's why I ran out of the hallway right away and headed for where he was.
Hold it!
Yeah, Gumshoe.
Detective Gumshoe was there in the hallway? Yeah. Why didn't you attest to that earlier? When I saw Gumshoe, it was after I heard the gunshot. And having seen him didn't change the fact that he still could have done the deed. It sounds exactly what Detective Bad told us before, however.
Something in particular we should be asking Detective about?
There just might be.
No one knew that the knife was actually the Yatagarasu key. Reflecting on that,
Perhaps there are other things that we know now, but Detective Bad doesn't yet. And that should be my angle of attack.
I didn't hear any other strange sounds until that gunshot. Something's up right there. Didn't hear any other strange sounds. There's no way it could be the knife, no. Yeah, this is tough. Yeah, that's tough. I gotta figure this out, huh? Was there any other strange sounds that we could have heard? Gunshot was heard. Yeah. Didn't hear any other strange sounds. How about the perfume?
Objection!
I would like to show the contradiction in your statement with this. And how will you do that? Because I can't see how you can.
Would you care to explain how you plan to do so in a way that I can comprehend?
Yes, well, nothing.
Nothing.
I guess nothing.
And what you're doing right now is thinking up a way to explain it. And that means it was simply a guess all along, wasn't it, Miles?
Saw right through me. Can't keep this up. I will wind up losing the truth if I continue this tactic.
Something is wrong. What do I even say? Wait a second. Wasn't there another strange sound? But the problem is it was near that window, no? Oh wait. The balloon. No? Because the judge mentioned he heard a sound. I guess it was the balloon.
Objection!
Detective Bat, does this balloon fragment remind you of anything? It's the same color as the one Kate was holding.
Oh, so you knew about that girl's balloon?
Yeah, I was sitting with her up in the gallery during the recess just before we split up. I filled up that balloon for her, as you may have already surmised. This place did indeed come from Kay's balloon. So, well, what about the balloon? I wonder if you might remember hearing this balloon pop at some point. What are you getting at? This fragment was found in the hallway right in front of lobby number 2. Furthermore, it was the sound of this balloon popping that the judge mistook as a gunshot. Oh, so that the sound the judge heard was not actually a gunshot, huh?
On top of that, His Honor said that he heard the balloon pop about 20 minutes before the trial was to reconvene.
In which, yes, but which
This dying.
means His Honor heard the balloon pop in the hallway. When we were in lobby, you were in lobby number 1, Detective Bat. If you were in lobby number 1 at that time, you were close enough that you should have heard the balloon popping as well. So, what? Don't give me a
Maybe he didn't really hear it? We just proved that there is a flaw in your testimony.
The cackling of the truth is louder than the sound of your sweet naivete cracking. And since you kids don't seem to know, let me fill you in on something. Did you ever stop to think why doors and walls of this place seem so rugged? That's because they were designed to keep secrets from being leaked.
Soundproof doors? No! What is that supposed to mean?
The doors and walls are super thick, and the window panes are double layered. And top of it all off, even the curtains are made up of special sound-absorbing material. You mean? Since I was shut up in lobby number 1, there's no way I could have heard that sound.
But you heard a gunshot. No. Wait a second.
I knew that's what he was going to say.
And that means that Scruffface's testimony is completely useless. If the runes are soundproof, then of course he wouldn't hear any sound of a struggle. Wait, how did you hear the gunshot then?
That's also why it's only natural that I didn't hear the balloon popping. Now, do you get it, kids?
Miles, I thought we were supposed to be the ones finding flaws in his logic, not the other way around.
The other way around? It's not possible to hear the sound of a balloon popping if one were in lobby number 1. However, if we examine this situation in reverse, a person standing in the hallway should not be able to hear the real gunshot either. And yet Detective Gumshoe claims to have heard it while he was standing in the hallway. Wait, Gumshoe has heard the gunshot, but Bad didn't hear the balloon? Detective Bad, if that is the case, how exactly did you hear the gunshot? What do you mean, how? I just did. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because, like, one, if he's saying the rooms are soundproof, then there's a big flaw in the testimony. It would appear that you have yet to realize the contradiction in your own words. Oh, how so? If the ruins are as soundproof as they say you are, then how did the sound of the gunshot enter your ears? I see what you mean.
I'm surprised he didn't really thought of that. If he already knew the whole rooms were soundproof.
I guess I'm more out of it from Faraday's murder than I had originally thought.
Which means what exactly, Miles, in the end? What does it all boil down to?
Boils down to this, there must be a reason as to how Detective Bad and Gumshoe heard a gunshot they theoretically couldn't have.
It looks like you need to examine the state of the crime scene again, huh?
The state of the crime scene? Wait, can it be?
Perfume. Lobby number 2's television. Surveillance video. Is it lobby number 2? And loud television?
Oh, gets you a clear contradictory piece of info. God damn it.
Is it loud television? Fuck, that's hard. Is it dissipating the smell? And lobby number 2? Those two are technically connected. There we go.
Simply not possible for the killer to have escaped through the barred windows, and yet the fragrance of the perfume managed to escape from defendant lobby number 1. And of course, incorporeal things can move freely from these open barred windows.
Open windows? And the TV can be heard. There we go.
Now then, what else besides the smell can both go in and out of an open barred window? The answer is sound. So no matter how careful the killer was, if the windows were open, the jig would be up. And since the windows in both defendant lobby number 1 and the hallway were open, then that explains the sound of a gunshot could be heard from both locations.
Missing evidence with the gunshot can be heard when the windows were open.
That's it. A missing piece of evidence is a video. That shows the moment in which Mr. Rell killed the embassy staff member. The sound of a gunshot left quite an impression on me when it was played during the trial. The video should have been returned to Mr. Faraday's evidence bag for the recess, but it was missing, and brought back here. If it disappeared after that time, then it's possible that the tape is still here in this room. Eureka! The evidence that the missing evidence created for me is the gunshot sound that no one should have been able to hear in the first place.
Miles, what have you been thinking about? Stop wasting time and let's start looking again.
It's not a waste of time to think, for I have figured out where we should look.
And where would that be?
I believe we should examine the television. The TV. Well, you kids have fun. Go ahead, examine whatever you like.
Okay. If the tape is gonna be super vital, isn't it?
Videotape player inside, but it seems to be a video. Yep, it's inside.
It looks like it. The tape must have stopped on its own when it reached the end.
This tape, could it be not the missing surveillance tape?
I suppose, but
Detective Bad, would it be alright with you if I verified the contents of this video? Sure. Knock yourself out.
alright, let's rewind this and see what we have.
If I remember correctly, the footage of Rel killing the embassy staff member should be about 30-minute mark from the start of the tape. Understood. This should be about right. Now then, let's see.
This is the footage of Mr. Rel shooting the embassy staff member.
I knew it. The missing piece of evidence, the surveillance video, was here all along.
But why was it here? Wait. There's no way. Do you think a video could have been? There's no way a video could have been played. There's absolutely no way.
This sound. What is the meaning of this? It appears that Detective Bag has figured out the true source of the gunshot he heard.
Could it just be? It was just the videotape all along? But who would play it?
With this, I can figure out the trick behind this double murder.
Do you mean figure it out then?
Yes, all I have to do now is show what the gunshot detectives Bad and Gumshoe heard was, and drew where they heard it from.
Fine, in that case, show me what you've deduced.
Now I have to show what the gunshot detectives Bad and Gumshoe heard was, and drew where they heard it from.
Someone left this video on the play the whole time, huh?
Suppose so. Other than the killing, there's hardly a sound on the rest of this tape.
Then why did the television make that loud sound when Scruffy got near it?
That's precisely because the tape had to run out and stopped its playback.
It's not just bad luck, that detective has the worst time in the world, too.
Someone purposefully has left this video on play, and the question is why. Early when Detective Gumshoe touched this, it made a most terrible racket.
You mean when Scruffy turned the television on, right?
Actually, come to think of it, I actually don't think Detective Gumshoe actually touched the television at all.
Autoplay. It was on autoplay, even if Detective Gumshoe wouldn't.
Furthermore, it seemed more like a video feed suddenly stops. At least it did to me.
I wonder why that is.
Just as with this spilled perfume in lobby number 1. If the windows were open, the piece of evidence sound would dissipate out. Now to show the gunshot detectives Bad Gumshoe heard was, and drew where they heard it from.
Yes.
Eureka!
This piece of evidence will clear away the last remaining contradiction in this case.
Miles, I believe that piece may actually be proof of a different last of sorts, because that today will be your last day as a prosecutor.
God damn it. Appears I made a mistake yet again. However, I know that last riddle and its answers lie somewhere within this room. Okay, I need to calm down and think this through.
Okay. Maybe it's just the window. The window in the surveillance video. Okay.
Eureka!
The doors and windows to the crime scene, namely this room were closed. The killer could have used the gun and no one would have been the wiser.
That's true, but this courthouse does seem to be well designed for such a thing, as it were.
However, what happened in reality was Detective Gumshoe and Detective Bad and Miss Yu. All three of them heard the gunshot.
Well, the windows in lobby number 1 and 2 in the hallway were open, so naturally the people in those locations could hear it.
But then, why would the criminal open the window in the first place?
To allow the gunshot to be heard, I suppose.
Correct. That is the only logical conclusion we can draw from this.
But the question is why? Why draw out with the gunshot video? Well, why was that necessary in the first place? I wanted a real answer, Miles, that demands satisfaction.
Alright, very well then. I believe the killer wanted to manipulate our perception of a certain fact.
When the crime took place.
The killer wanted to fabricate the time of death to their precise wishes, and they used the gunshot in the surveillance video to do so.
So that's why the tape was left running. Wait a second. That means they could have died before any of it started, and all they had to do was use the videotape and time it to perfection.
You mean the gunshot I heard from was from this video? Yes, which means that the murders really occurred at an earlier time than we really thought. Shit!
But who would do that?
It must have been during the recess. But before Detective Gumshoe was on guard duty. Someone who has no alibi for that time period. And planned this crime out in advance. That person is the real killer.
I'm suspecting you, or the other person.
Mr. Edgeworth! Yes, what is it? Miss Yu's asking for you. She's in the courthouse.
There's still suspects in this. It could be you, or it could be Manny Cochin, even though he appeared at the... Yeah, it could be him, because even though he has an alibi that he was in the courthouse, that still didn't mean that he was gonna be... That still doesn't mean anything, because they could have just played it, and all he had to do was wait to get his alibi. Reminds me of a case in Danganronpa 2, not gonna lie.
Says that she identified the murderer, but that she clearly wants to clarify something.
Looks like Miss Yu is still investigating something.
Understood. Please tell her that I will be right over.
Oh, come along.
I'll come along and I want to hear what she has to say. It would appear that the time has come to uncover the truth.
Interesting. It was a videotape all along to manipulate the time of murder. Genius. I could have not thought of that. But there are two people that could be, but I believe it could be you, because she did put out the perfume thing. That's still sus as hell. But it could be Manny Cochin. That also could be sus as hell, so... Anyway, I guess I'll see you guys all next time.